Banana bread does not have to be basic, and you'll see why today. I'm Brian Hart-Hoffman, the editor-in-chief of Bake From Scratch, and welcome to my kitchen for more fast fix baking. These recipes meet the criteria to be delicious and unique and made in under 2 hours. How about that? Baking doesn't have to take a long time, and you'll see why. This cinnamon crunch banana bread is so amazing. It's one of my absolute favorites, with cinnamon sugar ribbons throughout and a crunchy sweet topping that the crowd will go wild for, and you'll see why in today's video. This recipe comes from my brand new cookbook, Fast Fix Baking, where everything can be made from start to finish in under 2 hours. Let's get started. You will love this. We'll start with our filling. This is really easy, but it's gonna add such a dynamic element of flavor, and it's visually pleasing too in this recipe. So we'll start in a small bowl where I've got some brown sugar, and then I'm going to add some all-purpose flour and cinnamon. And you could add other spices here too. That's a part of this bake it your own thing, where if you don't like cinnamon or you want something else in there, go for it. It's gonna be really, really good. And then of course, if you just love banana bread and you're a purist, you can leave this out. But give it a try, I promise you're gonna like it. Then we'll take some butter and we're gonna use our hands. And we are going to combine this by really just combining and pinching the butter with these ingredients. Now you'll see that the cinnamon and the brown sugar and the flour are a little bit resistant to the butter, so it just takes a little bit of dedication here. But once it starts to come together, you'll be doing this until you have a mixture that's well combined and resembles sand. So it's gonna be a little bit like a sandy texture, but you just gotta work for it. Super easy, and then we'll be ready to move forward with the recipe. Now let's make our batter. Again, stir together, quick, easy, you're gonna love it. I've got a large bowl here that I have some all-purpose flour in, and then I'm gonna add the usual suspects of baking soda, baking powder, and salt. You could also, this is where you start having spices go back in, but we've got the filling. I'm just getting a little crazy with the creativity. Quick whisk, get our dry ingredients combined. And now let's get the star of the show in here. Large bowl filled with beautiful mashed ripe bananas. I love banana bread, so here we go. Let's get our brown sugar in. Then we're gonna add other things to make it even more delicious. We're adding some oil. And an oil cake or bread has such a nice soft texture. I love making quick breads with oil. I've got room temperature eggs and some room temperature sour cream. It's really important that these ingredients are room temperature before adding them to this recipe, especially because I am about to add some melted butter. And if we add cold ingredients here, the butter would get solid again, and that defeats the point and the speed of having melted butter in here. Then vanilla bean paste. I love baking with vanilla bean paste. Let's keep the baking fun going. And now we're gonna get it all combined. So I'm just taking a whisk, pressing through my ingredients. This is how I always start. Anytime there's melted butter, oil, eggs, anything that could splash out, I use my whisk to kind of mash it together. Then start in the center and just whisk until you have a nice, smooth mixture. Then we're gonna stir in the dry ingredients. So I just sprinkle it over this banana mixture. Take my spatula, and then I just gently stir, almost like a folding technique, because you do not want to overwork the batter here. You want this to be a really nice, tender banana bread, and we do that with minimal mixing. So just bringing it together until just combined. And a splash of bourbon here could be good. See? Let the ideas continue. Let's get our pan ready. We're gonna bake this in an 8.5 by 4.5 inch loaf pan, giving it a gentle coating of a baking spray with flour. This is just short burst of the spray, and then enough in the bottom so that our parchment paper that we're lining it with can stick in place and then make it nice and easy to get everything in. Once you have your parchment paper in the bottom and up the sides, give it a little pinch here on the edge just to keep that parchment paper folded over and out of the way. It also helps in case your oven has a fan in there. That's gonna keep it from blowing over into the loaf as you bake it as well. Now, we've got to remember to get our layers of the filling in here. So we're going to put about 1/3 of the batter in. And then we made the filling, so let's use it. Sprinkle your filling over the batter and be sure to leave about an 1/8 to 1/4 inch around the edge just to prevent the filling from touching the edges and separating in the oven. We want this bread to bake beautifully with a nice texture, so be sure just to pay attention to that. And then you're gonna spoon the second third of the batter over before continuing that layering process that we started with. Second half of our filling going in. We'll finish by putting the remaining part of our batter over the filling. The method for making the topping is the exact same that I showed for the filling. So I'm not gonna show that in the video, but it gives you such a really delicious cinnamony crunch on the top of this banana bread. That may be the one thing that people ask you, what did you do? Because I've never had a banana bread like this before. It truly is so unique, so special, and it's one of my absolute favorites. And then you simply finish with a nice even layer of your topping. You can put this over the entire top. My oven is preheated to 325 degrees, and you'll find the full baking instructions in the recipe. But let's get it in that oven so you can see how beautiful this is once it's cooled. Did I say cooled completely? Because I think this is one of those recipes you could slice while it's warm. Who doesn't want a little piece of, or a lot of pieces of warm banana bread? Let me show you what I'm talking about. The topping is nice and crunchy. It is really amazing. And then we're gonna get a look at this. Oh yeah, there's your filling. Let's get some more too. Why stop there? I'm definitely ready to dig in. Look at that. Wow, the crowd. Who doesn't love banana bread? I know you're gonna love this recipe, and the description for the episode includes the link so that you can get to the recipe and information about how you can be a part of the Bake From Scratch community. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hang out with me for more delicious moments here in the kitchen. Now it's your turn, everybody, because I'm about to devour some banana bread. Preheat your ovens, it's time to bake. I'll see you next time for more baking.